today I'm going to talk about how to actually run an impact, okay? So, but before actually starting talking about impacts today, I want to ask you a question, guys. Who are the most powerful people in the world? Give me some names. Who are the most powerful people in the world? Sorry, who?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. Who else?
Malcolm Turnbull.
Bill Gates. Only in Australia, mate. Who else? Who else? No one knows him anyway. Is that it? Barack Obama, yes. Who else? Some ladies. Come on, ladies. Yes. Who else?
Michelle Obama.
Yes. Who else?
French president.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, she's famous only in France. So, okay, that one. So essentially, guys, remember this. The most powerful people in the world are the biggest influencers. The most powerful people in the world are the biggest influencers. Those are people who can influence a lot of people. Those are people with the biggest audience, okay? They got the largest audience listening to them, and that's why they are the most powerful people in the world. Would you agree with that one?
Yes.
Perfect. Right now, you're learning how to speak one-on-one. So you learn how to speak to a customer face-to-face every single day. But you're going to achieve real power when you can learn how to confidently speak to an audience, to a large group of people. And the larger the group is, the more power you guys acquire. Does that make sense to everyone? So essentially, the ability to influence a group of people is the highest paid skill in the planet. The more people you can influence, the larger the group is, the more you can actually get paid for what you actually do. And that's real. Think about it. The most powerful people, the richest people, they are first of all famous. Everyone knows them. And a lot of people listen to them. Whether you like them or not, they have an impact on you. Like Donald Trump, a lot of people don't like him. However, whenever Donald Trump talks, everyone is talking about it. So whether it's impacting you positively or negatively, it's impacting you. And the end result is because it's impacting you, that guy has got power, that guy has got money. So on a smaller scale, when you do an impact, essentially you're slowly learning how to acquire that skill, which is pretty exciting, right? So now we look at impact not like something, okay, I'm going to talk about 5 minutes about the 5 steps. No. If I look at it from a different point of view, okay, if I learn how to do that, I just need to increase the audience. And the larger the audience is going to become, the richer I'm going to be. Is that more exciting? Yeah. Perfect. So today I'm going to teach you how to do that. So let's do it. So the key when you run an impact is this. You want to become a figure of authority. Over time, you want to be a figure of authority. Now, first of all, what is an impact? So if I ask to a lot of people, what is an impact? They're like, oh, it's a presentation, blah, blah, blah. No, an impact is a 5 to maximum 7 minutes presentation about a specific topic of the marketing system or about a subcategory of that topic. Let me explain what that means to you. So an impact could be a 5 minutes presentation about closing with action. Okay, that's an impact. Could be a 5 minutes presentation about introduction. That's an impact. Or could be a 5 minutes presentation about a subcategory of the introduction. For example, the importance of smiling when you prospect a customer. That could be an impact. It's a subcategory of the introduction. Is everyone clear about that so far? Yeah. Perfect. So that's what an impact is. What is a figure of authority? A person whose real or apparent authority over others inspire or demands obedience and emulation. So that's the definition of figure of authority, okay? I don't like the obedience part, but I like the emulation part, okay? When you become a figure of authority and the more impacts you deliver, the more all the people around you want to be like you. That's the goal, right? Eddie was talking before about Ronan O'Connor in the morning when he was running the morning meetings in Atmosphere, and he was like, I wanted to be like Ronan. That's the level that you want to achieve. The more you become a figure of authority, the more the people around you want to be like you. And guess what happened when the people around you want to be like you? What happened? They follow you. That's power, right? That's when you start acquiring power. That's what an influencer does. But you do that on a smaller scale. Cool? I can see a lot of faces that like it. Are we all on the same page so far? Perfect. Now, what is a figure of authority? So let's define what a figure of authority actually is, because it's easy to say, okay, you need to be a figure of authority. But a lot of people are like, okay, but Patri, how do I become one? Now, a figure of authority could be someone like this. Probably not this guy, right? A figure of authority is more someone like that, okay? That's a figure of authority. When you look at that guy, what do you think?
Ronan.
Ronan?
Yeah.
What else do you see in that guy?
He's an absolute boss.
Do you see confidence in his face? Yeah? Does he look like someone that he knows what he does? Does he look like someone with big dreams? Does he look like someone with a vision? It looks like someone like that. Even if I didn't know who this person is, by the way, it's Leonardo DiCaprio. I hope you're on the same page when it comes to that. But even if I didn't know that, if I see one person like that walking through that door right now, I would be just like this. I would be like, who? Okay, that person is in the room. Wouldn't you be the same, guys? He's the kind of person that when he walks into the room, you're like, I can feel a presence in the room. I can feel the vibe, right? And the same is when you guys become a figure of authority. I noticed that, remember, when I was a leader in the deal, but I was not a good leader. I was just walking atmosphere, and I was just walking there. As soon as I start building momentum, and as soon as I started actually doing what I said that I was going to do, I remember I was walking atmosphere in the morning. People were just turning around. Like, they felt me. They were like, okay, someone is coming. They feel the vibe. When you become a figure of authority, people feel the vibe. And once again, that's when you start acquiring more power. So, is he actually important doing impacts? That's the biggest question everyone has. Is he important? So look, Rona, myself, and Eddie last night, we spoke about this for hours, whether it's important doing impacts or not. And we really spoke about it like hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And eventually we came up with this really, really interesting conclusion where the answer is actually, yes, it is. Okay, so doing impacts is important. So write it down in capital letters. It is important. And very quickly, very shortly, I'm going to explain to you why doing an impact every single day, if you can, is so crucial to your personal development and your growth, not in this business, but in every single business in the world. The 4 reasons why doing an impact is important. Number 1, I'm going to explain to you this shortly. Personal commitment. Aiden, you're going to love that, mate. Personal commitment. That's the number 1. The reason number 2 is repetition. I'm going to explain that to you later on too. Reason number 3, we covered this a little bit at the beginning of the presentation, but doing an impact every single day gives you what? More? That's it. And reason number 4, you overcome the second biggest fear for a human being, which I'm going to go through that later on. Any questions so far, guys?
Yeah, I have one quick question.
Go for it.
Well, actually, no, totally. I'll ask you.
Oh, what a guy.
Sorry.
Okay, do you have the question or not?
No, I do good, don't worry.
Are you sure? Okay, perfect.
I
Okay.
won't get it right, otherwise I won't get the answer.
Okay, Nate. Okay, personal commitment, guys. Listen to this. This is a very, very interesting story, and I want you to remember this forever. So those 2 gentlemen over there, this guy, I don't know how to pronounce him, Merton Deutsch and Harold Gerard, they did an experiment. And the experiment was this. So this guy, they had a massive whiteboard, okay? And they started drawing lines on the whiteboard. Like a line was like this, a line was like this, one was a little bit longer, one was a little bit shorter, longer, shorter, whatever. Different sizes. And then they split the room in 3 different groups. So imagine I split in 3 groups right now. So group 1, group 2, group 3. What they did, they asked the room the following question. They asked, group 1, think about the length of these lines on the board. So let's say I draw 4 lines on the board. I want you just to think about the length of each line. Don't write it down, just think about it. That's it. Got it? Group 2, I want you to think about the length of all the lines on the board, but at the same time, I want you to write it down on paper. You got it? Group 3, I want you to think about it. I want you to write it down. You need to give me the paper, and you need to sign the paper with your name and surname and your signature when you write down the length of these lines. Has everyone got the example so far? So what happened was very interesting, guys, because eventually, those 2 gentlemen, they reveal what the right answer actually was. Now, group 1, when group 1 was like, okay, that's the right answer, they were just like, okay, cool, I'm fine. I made a mistake. Okay, cool, we made a mistake. They just accepted it. They didn't care. They were like, okay, that's fine. Group 2, they were a little bit more like, Dave, no, but look, I think you're wrong, pattern. No, look, Dave, like, that's actually the real answer. Like, group 2 was a little bit more resistant. They were like, no, look, I'm not too sure if what you're actually saying is right. I think we are right, okay? Now, group 3, Jesus Christ, group 3 was like, no chance, okay? No chance, Patri. That's absolutely wrong. I challenge you. I'm 100% certain that this is the right answer. It's the answer that I wrote down. Okay? And I can challenge you on that one. Why is this happening? This is really, really interesting because the more public your statement is, the more committed you become towards the statement, and the less likely you are to change your mind. I want to repeat this one more time because I think it's so fascinating, this concept. The more public your statement is, the more commitment you become towards your statement, and the less likely you are to change your mind. Why? Because inconsistency among behavior and belief will cause up psychological tension. I know this looks complicated. I'm going to explain to you the meaning of that. In other words, it means this. When you have a belief, okay? So right now they wrote down the size of these lines on paper. They signed it. They committed to it. Like they did it publicly. So that was their belief. So when I revealed the right answer, they didn't accept that because that goes against the first belief that they have. And therefore, if their behavior needs to be aligned with their belief, and that's why they did not accept the answer, and that's why they were more stubborn than the two different groups. Is everyone clear about this concept so far? I know you're probably wondering, okay, that's all cool, Patrick, but why is that important when it comes to impacts? I'm gonna get there later, so stay with me, okay? But essentially, it works like this. You always change your behavior to fit your belief, and vice versa. You always change your behavior to fit your belief, and vice versa. Raise your hand if you're lost. No one is lost? Okay, perfect. I look at you like you make me feel confident. You always smile, so I'm like, as long as you smile, I'm good. So look, guys, the way it works is like this. The more impacts you do, the more commitment you become, the more your belief will increase, and the more you will fit, and the more you will change your behavior to actually fit the belief. Let me explain this in a very, very simple way. If I talk every day about the law of average, for instance, I do impacts every day, law of average, law of average, law of average, and I say to everyone, that's what you need to do, that's what you need to do, that's what we do, and I keep talking about it, 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 guess what I'm gonna do as a consequence in the field? I'm actually gonna put it into practice because I committed myself publicly by delivering something every single day. So in order to avoid psychological tension between belief and behavior, naturally, I'm going to change my behavior to make sure that my behavior fits what I actually said that morning. Otherwise, I feel hypocritical. And we all been in that situation, right? I'm going to lose weight. Okay, I'm going to lose weight. The night you're at McDonald's, you're like this, oh, I feel so bad. I shouldn't be here, right? Have you been in that position before? I'm going to stop drinking for a month. And then you're in the bar, you hide yourself around the corner with the beer there very, very quickly. And another one is me, I'm going to stop smoking. And then you see me there like, were you smoking? But no, I wasn't, right? Because inconsistency among belief and behavior creates psychological tension. You don't feel good with yourself. And so when people ask me, why is it so important to do impacts? The number one reason is because of you. Like, the number one reason why you do an impact, you do it for yourself. It's because if I keep talking about it, if I keep saying that, naturally I will do it. I will fix my behavior. Whatever bad behavior I have, if I keep talking about it, I have to fix it. Because otherwise I'm going to feel very bad. If I keep talking about every morning, okay, we need to speak to 200 people a day. Then I go to the field, I speak to 30. Inside I'm going to feel like, oh my God, I'm a liar. Okay. Then I speak about that again in the morning, and then I'm like, I can't do 30 today. Like, I say I was going to do 200. Now, you say that. And like the group number one, they only thought about the answer. You remember about the lines? I only asked them to think about it. And that's why when I gave the right answer, they didn't care. They were like, yeah, okay. If it's in your mind, it doesn't count. If it's only in your mind, it doesn't count. You need to commit publicly. And that's why impacts are so important, because they create that result. Isn't that cool, by the way? So now we just all learn that there is a scientific reason behind this. And if you really want to change your behavior, start talking about it. Do you want to be an assistant manager? I'm an assistant manager. Guys, I'm an assistant manager already, and I'm going to be an assistant manager in 4 weeks. These are the reasons. I talk about that every single day, every single day. every single day. So in the morning when I come and I don't have a daily plan, I don't need Eddie to be mad at me because I'm already mad at myself because of the psychological tension created there. Let me give you a few examples. So when it comes to betting, so for instance, when you're betting on a horse, so a horse race, statistically speaking, like this is being proven, the moment you put money on it, you believe that the horse is actually going to win, increase up to 50%, just because you put money on it, right? So now, that's your behavior. Your behavior is, I'm betting this amount of money on this horse. Now your belief is like, okay, I need to fit with that behavior because I want to avoid the psychological tension. And that's been proven. There is a charity company in the United States. Listen to this. They increase sales 700%. Would you like to increase sales 700%? They was like, oh, don't tell me. They increase sales 700%. And literally what they did is just this. Listen, so simple. So they had all the customers in the United States. They called them all up. And they just say this. Hello, Keelan. This is Patrick Charity or whatever. Listen, we just have a question for you today. By the way, we're not here to sign you up for anything or whatever. We just have one question, okay? If you will find the right charity, and you really, really believe in the charity, and you really believe that it's a good cause, would you be willing to donate?
Probably.
Yeah? Perfect. Thank you very much, Keelan. You have a very nice day. Call number 1. 2 weeks later, they call Keelan again. And they were like, hello, Keelan. This is Patrick Charity or whatever. Look, we are just calling you because based on what you told us last time, and based on the fact that you said to us last time that you would be willing to donate if you could find the right charity out there, we are giving you a call today because we've got 3 very good options for you. Let me run you through it. Option 1, option 2, option 3. Which one do you prefer? Option 2? Perfect. Okay, so I need your credit card details, Keelan. So how do you spell your name? Thank you very much for your support. You have a great day. 700% increase in sales. Why is that? Because they did the first call, okay? And Keelan publicly say on the phone on the first call, yes, I would donate to the right charity if I could find one. And then they were like, okay, perfect. That's your public commitment. You say that. That's your belief. Second call, now Keelan has to align the behavior with the belief on the first call. Otherwise, it's not going to look good. And it's going to create psychological tension. And if you say no, the guy on the phone was like, I'm very confused. Like, we even recorded the conversation, Keelan. I'm pretty sure. Like, because I went through the conversation before, I'm pretty sure that the last time you said that if you could find the right charity out there, you will actually sign up for it. Now, I'm giving you 3 options, which are very different from each other. What's wrong? Would you like me to give you more options? Because you say that if you could find one, you would do it. Would you like me to give you more options? Because I'm very happy to do that. What would you rather do right now? Would you rather sign for one of those 3, or would you rather to have more options? You tell me.
More options.
You see how Keelan is behaving right now? He can't change, he can't do anything about it because he committed publicly. Isn't that fascinating? There is another statistic. So for voters, in the United States, they prove that if you ask to someone, are you going to vote this year? And they say yes, they are 25% more likely to actually vote. Just because I asked, are you going to vote? Yeah. Okay, 25% more likely to do it just because he said publicly yes. It's crazy when you start thinking about it. And that's why doing impacts is so important, because you keep saying this stuff. And if you keep saying it and saying it and saying it, then you do it. I used to say to my manager, I'm doing impact to help myself, because at least if I wake up in the morning, I don't feel good, I'm tired or whatever, I know that if I do an impact, I'm going to perform. Because I can't, if I say, how can I show up the morning after and be like, okay, what I told you yesterday, I didn't do anything about it. Like, everyone will look at me and was like, look at that loser. Like, he's talking a lot, but he's not doing much. And I don't want that. No one wants that. Would you like to have that? Probably not, right? So, the result. When you do an impact every single day, you adapt your behavior to the belief. So, naturally, whatever you talk about it, you become. And second of all, you create habits. And the more habits you create, the more successful you become. It's just a consequence of that. And that was point number 1. Any question about point number 1? Pretty clear? Cool? Okay. Yeah? You have a question? No? Okay. Repetition is key. The more you teach it, the more you know it. Do you guys know Grant Cardone? Have you heard about that guy? So Grant Cardone, what some people like and some people, Keelan is like, oh, I want to marry that guy. Some people like Grant Cardone, some people don't like that guy. But his net worth is $758 million. So whether you like or you hate him, is a successful dude, right? Do we all agree with that? So Grant Cardone says this: you never know something until you can actually teach it back to someone else exactly in the way that you actually know it. So if I'm not doing impacts in the morning, if I don't deliver my knowledge, I don't actually know it. Because the only way to know it is to teach it. Now, not only repetition is key for the people that I'm teaching to when I do impacts, but repetition is key for me as well. Because guess what? You know a lot of things, but in 2 months' time, you're going to forget. Actually, I'm going to give you an interesting number. You're going to be very surprised. Listen to this, okay? Everything that you're learning today. Now, what time is it right now? Can you give me the time, anyone?
12 o'clock.
Sorry, 12 o'clock? Okay, listen to this. Everything that you learned so far this morning, tomorrow at 12 o'clock, you will forget 75% of what you learned today. Trust me, it's going to happen. That's why you're taking notes, because you want to read the notes over and over and over. But tomorrow at 12 o'clock, 75% is gone. In 1 month's time, 95% is gone. And 50% of the 10% that you remember is wrong. You don't actually remember it correctly. So literally, in 30 days from now, you only remember 5%. Isn't that scary? Right? Imagine when we read books, for example. Who read a book 6 months ago? If I ask you right now, okay, run me through every single chapter of that book and explain to me everything. Could you do that? No. We go to university, we spend 3 years there every day studying so hard. Oh my God, 2 months after, I remember my friends asking me, so do you remember the names of the exam? Like literally the name of the class. I was like, no. Like, I don't remember anything. You forget everything. And that's why doing an impact is a good way for yourself as well to make sure you stay on top of your knowledge. Because if you don't keep talking about it, if you don't keep delivering that knowledge to your people, not only they are going to forget, but you will. And now repetition at some point creates an habit. Once it becomes an habit, then becomes yours. And you will never forget that ever again. And that's why an impact is important. Point number 3, I think this is very fascinating too. An impact gives you more authority. Who knows Gary Vaynerchuk in this room? Raise your hand if you know Gary Vaynerchuk. Okay, raise your hand if you don't know Gary Vaynerchuk. Okay, we need to introduce you to Gary Vaynerchuk. He's not a friend of ours, he's an online guy. Who knows, I don't know. Okay, you don't know Gary Vaynerchuk. Who knows Grant Cardone, Ty Lopez, those people? Raise your hand if you don't know if you don't know any one of those people I just mentioned. Raise your hand. Okay, that's fine. So I'm going to talk to you two afterwards. But essentially, what those people do is this. Every day, they do what? They post? They post a lot of?
Online content, yeah.
Online content. So they post a lot of videos. They post a lot of pictures. Every single day, they post something new. They talk about something new. Okay? Now, for those of you who know Gary Vaynerchuk, do you think that Gary Vaynerchuk is a knowledgeable guy? Yeah? If Gary Vaynerchuk was talking here in this room right now, would you take a lot of notes? Yeah. Would you pay $1,000 to have a sit down with Gary Vaynerchuk for 2 hours? 100% yes. Have you ever met Gary Vaynerchuk?
No.
So why do you think he's so knowledgeable? Why do you think he's so good? You never even met the guy.
Because he has that authority.
How do you know?
Because he's showing it.
What is he showing?
He's showing that he knows all this stuff.
He's an expert.
How does he do that?
Online,
Start teaching
putting
people.
videos up.
Putting videos up, right? So because he's putting videos up, he's teaching stuff or whatever, you trust him, don't you? You never met the guy, right? You don't know whether he's a good person or a bad person. You don't know what he does in his private time. You don't know anything about Gary Vaynerchuk. But if Gary Vaynerchuk will sit down with you and give you an advice and say, Keelan, this is 100% what you need to do over the next 6 months to make $2 million, you would just be, okay, I'm going to exactly follow what this guy told me without even doubting about it. Is that correct? I will do exactly the same, by the way. Because you look at Gary Vaynerchuk as a figure of authority, and you look at him as a figure of authority as a result of the content that he's publishing every single day. Right or wrong? Guess what you do in Atmosphere every single day? You don't publish online content, you publish live content. And that's called impact. Your online video that Gary Vaynerchuk publishes every single day is the impact that you deliver in the morning. That's your way to publish content every single day. For the owner is the morning meeting. The owner does a morning meeting every single day to make sure that the content is going, right? And the more content you publish in the morning, the more your people look at you as a figure of authority as an owner. As a leader right now, you can't do a morning meeting yet. But what you can do is an impact, and that's your way to publish the content. And guess what? Gary Vaynerchuk has got a very simple rule. The more content you publish, the more you win. And the more impacts you do, the more you win. The person who's doing the impacts is the person I'm rolling every single day. Is a direct consequence of doing that. So if you are the person doing impacts every single day, you are the person delivering more content than anybody else, guess what happens when you deliver more content than anybody else? Anybody else is going to look at you like the figure of authority in atmosphere, and naturally, you become an assistant manager. Naturally, you become a manager. It's so easy when you break it down. We look into all the answers. But literally, the answer is ring the bell every single day, do an impact every single day, make sure that you become the figure of authority, and because you commit so much publicly, you will naturally become the person that you want to be without even trying. Isn't there an easier solution than, oh my God, I need to check this box and I need to do this, I need to do that? It's so simple. You need to be the Gary Vaynerchuk of our atmosphere. You need to be the person that is publishing more content than anybody else. And when it comes to content, works like this guy. If Gary Vaynerchuk was publishing one video a month, would we consider Gary Vaynerchuk a figure of authority? We'd be like, who's that guy? Like 1 video a month, everyone can do that. So it's the same for you. If you do an impact, even if it's the biggest and the best impact in the history of the impacts, but if you do it once a month, people are going to be like, oh my God, that was so good. Guess what happened 24 hours later? How much are they going to forget? 75%. And 30 days later, they forget 90% and 5% is wrong. So they only remember 5% of what you did, which is very close to zero. So essentially, you're nothing. And the only way to actually build their reputation is through consistency. Consistency is first, quality is second. Quality is a consequence of consistency, not the other way around. You got it, Sebastian?
Got it.
You sure?
Yeah, my mind's blown.
Is it?
Blind.
Whenever you need me, May. So, do you guys get that? Quality is a consequence of consistency, not the other way around. Especially when it comes, I'm not talking about, this doesn't apply to sales, by the way. This just applies to publishing when it comes to publishing content, okay? Don't go next week and say to Eddie, hey, Eddie, my quality was bad this week because Patrick told me. No, it doesn't apply to sales. It only applies to content, okay? Is everyone clear about this one? Okay, perfect. So that's what I say, right? The more authority you get, the more trust you get, the more leaders you gain. Simple as that. It's really simple as that. Like, I really ask myself every time. Sometimes we complain, I don't have enough leaders in my crew. And I'm like, and the question that I always ask back to the person that says me that, I always say, would you follow yourself? Like, if you will start today and you were your leader, would you follow yourself? And most of the time when people don't have enough leaders in their crew, the answer is probably not. And I'm like, why? Yeah, because I don't look like the person in charge. Why? Because I don't take enough control. Why? I'm not talking enough in atmosphere. Why? I'm not doing enough impacts. That's it. What do you need to do to do more impacts? I need to ring the bell. Perfect. Let's do that. So the more impacts you do, the more authority you gain, the more trust you gain, the more leaders you develop. Like, even developing leaders is a natural consequence of your behavior. It's not like, oh, let me be strategic about pushing that person to leadership. This person is going to get promoted in 2 weeks. This person in 3 weeks. In 3.8 weeks, I'm going to be assistant manager. That's all great. But at the end of the day, developing leaders is a consequence of your behavior. Like, you need to be the person that they want to follow. And to become that person, you need to be the person in charge. Would you agree with that one?
Yeah.
Right? Point number 4, you overcome your fear. What is our biggest fear as human beings? Who knows that? Sorry? Go first. Dying. What else? Failure. Flying. Eddie? Flying. Told you. Public speaking. What else?
False evidence appearing real.
Sorry?
False evidence appearing real.
Okay, cool. What else? Yes? What else? Snakes. Right? So are you guys ready? Wait for it. That's how I met your mother. Wait for it. The biggest fear of human beings is actually this one here. No, I'm just joking. That's just mine. That's just mine. That's just me. So it doesn't count for everyone. That's my biggest fear ever. By the way, if I see a snake, you guys don't see me ever again, ever. I'm gonna tell you a very funny story just to break this up a little bit. I used to have a little studio where we used to record music and singing and rapping and doing freestyle and all that kind of stuff. I remember one day I was walking down the stairs with my brother. And I said to my brother, you know what, I'm a little bit concerned because the door is not closed very well, so maybe there are snakes going inside the studio. As soon as I say that, I see a snake going inside the studio. That door has never been opened since then. I don't know what happened to my microphone and everything inside the studio, but that door has been closed for the last, I think, 8 years by now. So no, the second biggest fear of humans is public speaking. The first one is flying. The second one is public speaking. People are literally terrified when it comes to do public speaking. Are we not? Yeah. Right? Do you remember the first time you did an impact? Do you still remember that time? Today I'm going to talk about closing with action. And you're like on the board like this. And everybody's like, what's happening there? Like, you remember when we did the talent show last night? There were some people at the talent show. They were like, okay, guys. Because when it comes to public speaking, you're literally, oh my God, like I'd rather die right now than speak in front of this audience. And that comes with time. That comes with practice. There is not like something that you're like, okay, you're born to be a public speaker. No, there is no such thing. I was so shy when I was young. Like, oh my God. Like, to me, speaking in public, I was just like, no. Hello, how are you? Done. End of the conversation, right? But then I started doing freestyle when I was 14 years old. So I had to take a mic and go on stage and improvise for like 10 minutes and rapping or whatever. So I started doing freestyle for 5 years. And that forced me to go on stage. And so then I was on stage. Not only was speaking in front of a lot of people, but I had to make things up on the spot. That's pretty scary. Trust me on that. They give you a topic like, okay, talk about the table for 1 minute. Here's the mic. And you're like, great. So once you learn how to do that, then you overcome the fear. Now you have two options. We can all be freestylers, which would be amazing, so we can rap together in the evening. Or we can do more impacts in the morning so you can practice more and you can build your confidence more. Which one is easier?
Impacts.
I mean, it's easy freestyle too, but impacts is a little bit easier, okay? So that's what you do when you do impact. Now, the question right now is, everyone is cool. Now you understood the logic behind why doing impacts is important. But a lot of people in this room are like, thank you very much, Patrick, that was great, but how the hell do I actually do it, right? Because some people don't have a structure. We feel that when we write it down, we're like, oh, but how do I structure? Who felt like that before? If you're not raising your hand, you're a big liar. Everyone felt like that before, right? Otherwise, you would be Tony Robbins right now. You would get paid $500,000 for every public speaking gig that you do. So there are 3 different ways to deliver an impact. The first one is called the narrative. The second one is called hit the wall. And the third one is called what, why, when, and how. Now, what, why, when, and how. That one is so simple. Like, even those 2 guys could do that. Like, what, why, when, and how is very, very simple. Like, you don't have to be super clever to do that. Everyone in the world can do that. So we know what that means. What? Today I'm going to speak about this. Why? Because it's very, very important. When? We do it all the time. How? Blah, blah, blah. Thank you very much. And everyone is like, oh, my God. Right? So I'm going to give you 2 more exciting ways to actually deliver an impact. By the way, I'm joking. When you start, this is fine. If you want to use this structure, it's fine. But obviously, you need to be a little bit excited. So don't be like, today, what? Closing with action. Today, I'm speaking about closing with action. Why? It is important. It's very important. Did you guys get the point, right? And the audience, while you're doing that, is like, hey, it's the morning. I need excitement. Come on, come on. So if you do this, make sure that you stare at the board, like speak to the audience, and have the C factors there. Otherwise, you're killing people around you. Who's been there before? Because we all done that impact, by the way, right? We were just like this. And then you turn around, you're like, why people are not exciting? They're so rude. No, it's not that they are rude. It's because you're not making the environment very exciting, right? But at least now we have the answer. The second one is called hit the wall. Hit the wall is a very simple strategy. Look, if you look at, there are a lot of online marketers actually using the strategy hit the wall. And it works like this. Okay, this is who I am today. Look at me, I'm so successful. Like you see this guy online, I've got a Ferrari here, I've got a big house and whatever. I'm very, very rich. And yeah, my life is great. However, my life wasn't always like this. This is who I was. I was broke. I had 0 money. I was living with my parents, I was 35 years old and I was not successful and blah, 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 blah. But one day, I hit the wall. And I realized that there was something that I was doing wrong. I changed that thing. And today I want to teach you what I changed to make sure that you can do exactly the same thing. Have you heard that speech before? Come on.
Yeah.
Anybody? It's always the same strategy, right? Now, it's a very good script though when it comes to delivering an impact. Because, guys, today for me, closing is very, very simple. Like, to be honest with you, my closing ratio every single day is great. Like in HelloFresh, for instance, is 18 closes a day. I have 20 closes every single day. I find that very, very easy. But I want to tell you the truth. When I started, no, I was not the same. When I started, I was terrified by closing. Literally, I was finishing my presentation, and before closing a customer, I was shaking a little bit, and I couldn't close, so I couldn't do that. However, Eddie told me one thing, and I still remember that atmosphere because Eddie that morning told me this one thing that I changed, and since then, my closing ratio went up to the roof. Would you like to learn this today, guys? Would you like to learn that? Perfect. So let me teach you what that thing actually is. Do you guys get this?
Yeah.
Is that pretty good?
Yeah.
Right? Do you have any question? No? Perfect. So it's a very, very simple structure that you can follow. Essentially, this is who I am, this is who I was, this is what I change. And when I deliver this kind of impact, I want to engage the audience. Did you notice that when I ask you a question, I do this? Have you noticed that? I'm like, do you guys have any question? Right? Or I nod when I want you to say yes. It's exactly the same as the field, right? So I want to engage the audience a little bit. That's called hit the wall. The next one is called the narrative. So this one here works like this. You've got a story at the beginning. You need to support the story with 3 key elements. You need to demonstrate what you just claimed with theory and example, and you need to tie it down. Let me explain to you how this works. For instance, the story. The story is a claim that you make. The story is a claim that you make. For instance, guys, I believe that overturning objection is the most important skill when it comes to your pitch. That's my statement. That's my story. Are you guys clear about that? I believe that overturning objection is the most important skill when it comes to your pitch. Now, let me tell you why. I'm going to give you 3 reasons to support what I just said. Reason number 1, only 10% of customers buy without giving you an objection. So if you don't overturn, you're missing out on the remaining 90%. In average, whenever you pitch someone, you get between 2 to 3 objections. Reason number 3, objections, it's a human behavior. Like, it's a natural reaction that we have. Would you guys agree with that? When, like, I was giving an example last night. Like, okay, I want to give you this example. I need a girl. Let's say you. So you are at the bar. Okay, you're alone at the bar. Okay? There is a guy coming to you. And you're alone. You don't want to speak to this guy. And this guy's like, how are you? Can I have your number? What would you say?
No.
Oh, come on. Can I have your number?
I have to go.
I have to go, or can I have your number? Come on.
I have a boyfriend.
I have a boyfriend, right? What is I have a boyfriend? Is a?
Objection.
It's a defensive action. It's bullshit. Sorry. Shouldn't have said that. It's a defensive action, right? It's not real. It's a natural reaction, which is exactly the same as I want to think about it. So when I do my impact, I say, okay, my story, overturning objection is the most important skill in your pitch. Here's why. Reason number 1, reason number 2, reason number 3. Now, let me demonstrate to you why overturning objection is actually so important, and let me show you how to actually use it. Here's the theory behind it. So you get objection 1, objection 2, objection 3. This is how you overturn. Here's the theory. Here's my example. Yesterday I was in the field. Practical, real example. Yesterday I was in the field. This customer told me, I want to speak to my wife. Here's what I say. Here's what I did. And that's why the customer actually bought from me, guys. I did exactly the theory. I put into practice the theory that I just told you 1 minute ago. You got it? Tie it down. This is when I close my audience. How do I tie it down? Now, based on what I just explained to you today, would you guys agree that overturning objection is an essential skill to be very successful in sales? Raise your hand if you do. What am I doing here? I'm closing my audience. It's the same as closing a sale. You need to close. Otherwise, if the audience is walking away, that they are mentally disconnected, it doesn't count. You want them to say yes, because I explained to you before something. When the audience say yes loudly, what are they doing? It's a public commitment. And if they commit publicly, what are they going to do? They're going to change their behavior. Simple as that. I told you today before, Voters, just asking, are you going to vote? They say yes, 25% more likely to actually vote. The same is with the people in your crew. If they just say yes to what you just claimed, they are 25% more likely to put into practice what you just taught. Isn't that fascinating? To me, it's mind-blowing, right? Any question about this one? Oh, good? Perfect. Now, what else is needed? So, number one, tone of voice. So, if you deliver an impact and you speak like this. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about the power of overturning objection. I think overturning objection is very, very important. What is going to happen to your audience when you speak like that? Right? They're gonna die. The tone of voice needs to be on point. The tone of voice needs to be on point. And the tone of voice needs to go up when there is something really, really important that you want to deliver. Okay, for instance, only 10%. So you see how I say 10%. Only 10% of customers actually buy without giving you an objection. Only 10%. So now in your mind, what are you going to remember? You're going to remember the 10%. You're never going to forget that. So the tone of voice needs to be there, on point and exciting. Second one, the eye contact. Oh, sorry for the mistake there. Oh, digital. So eye contact, you need to look at your audience. Like right now, I'm looking at you. And if you notice, I'm not looking at everyone. I'm just looking at the people that I'm more excited about. Right? I'm looking at the people who are nodding. I'm looking at the people who are smiling. I'm looking at the people who are excited. If during my speech right now you were one of those people, I never looked at you even once. Because I want to be excited myself. I need you to give me energy. So I keep eye contact consistently with the people that are giving me energy during an impact. And that's how I energize myself. Number 3, ask questions. Don't just talk. Ask questions. Raise your hand. Okay? And ask the yes question. It's the same as pitching a customer. Would you agree that this is pretty affordable? Yeah? Yeah, it is. Perfect. The same is with the people. So do you guys agree that this is pretty cool? Yeah, cool, it is, cool. I keep engaging the audience to make sure that they are still following me when I'm talking. Point number 3, be fun. You need to have fun when you deliver an impact. I put a couple of pictures there today. I was expecting you to laugh a little bit more, but I failed badly on that one. But anyway, you need to be fun when you deliver an impact, right? You see, right now I did my speech. We laughed a little bit. There were moments where we were serious. There were moments where we laughed, right? So you want to be fun. In 2018, Gary Vaynerchuk always say, in 2018, if you don't entertain, you're broke. Entertainment is the highest paid industry in the planet after public speaking. Think about it. Like singers. I think about a person like Drake, for instance. You go back hundreds of years ago, when we used to have kings and castles and whatever, the entertainers were slaves. Literally, the entertainer was a slave in the castle, and the king was like, dance for me. And it was, and everyone was like, oh, I'm so happy, he was a slave. Today, entertainers, they run the world, right? That's what happened over the last few hundreds of years, and that's the reality. If you don't entertain, you're broke. So when you do an impact, you need to be entertaining, otherwise no one is going to listen to you. Make it practical. A lot of people, when they do an impact, they talk about the general theory behind it, like the general knowledge. They give a lot of fluff, information and whatever, but nothing practical is being delivered. I want to deliver practical things, little things that everyone can use that day. Otherwise, there's no point for me running an impact for you guys. And the last one, educational, not motivational. I remember John told me that, my manager, because my first impacts in the morning, I was just like, we have no fear. We're going to fight today until we're going to make it. Like, we're going to keep going. We're not going to give up today in the field. And John one day came to me and was like, come with me for a second. And I didn't take it in. I was like, Johnny's wrong. And then I came up the day after, I was punching the board. And I was like, oh! Then Tim Kennedy, I still remember that day. Tim Kennedy, I don't know if you ever met Tim Kennedy, walked through the door in that hospital. He just looked at me, and I looked at him like this. And I knew I was coming. And since that day, I never made that mistake ever again. Tim Kennedy was just like this. And I was like, hallelujah. Like, you see the soldier going for death. And that's what happened that day. So it's educational, it's not motivational. Don't make the mistake. The motivational side is the owner's job. That's the morning meeting. The impact is about education. I want to give practical information. That's also a rhyme. We can start rapping a little bit. And that's it, guys. So thank you very much for listening. I hope it was helpful.